Hey, Lyoko Warriors, it's coming here for you for another Lyoko episode review. Almost said my hero. Lyoko episode review, episode 14, The Trap. Let's get into it. Obviously, it starts off with the opening, and then we cut to Jeremy, and he's asleep, but he wakes up. And let me pause this. I missed it. Anyway, he's asleep, and then he wakes up, and he looks at his computer. I'm trying to pause this moment. Here we go. Uh, um, sorry. He wakes up and he looks at his computer and he gets on the computer and he calls Alita. Alita wakes up. Well, she's not asleep, but she gets on, and then it's like Jeremy's face is reflected in the camera screen or the camera monitor, and Alita's face is like moving around in there. This is this is sort of how it looks. This is kind of funny. Alita's face. Anyway, they start talking about Mrs. Hurt's class, how he has that in the morning. He can't really get too much sleep. And he starts to go on about how um, humans have to memorize stuff to do stuff, and Alita can do it like innocently because she's like a living computer, so she can't really forget. And while they're talking, we hear Jim in the background yell at Odd and Orc and say, "Hey, are you guys asleep?" And then we hear him yell outside the gaming room, "You better be sleeping now!" While they're just talking, he's like, "Huh? Oh snap!" Oh, okay, Alita, I'll call you tomorrow. It's like, he was already, it was so delayed because he yelled, like, hey, are you asleep? You better be going to sleep. And then he just keeps talking to Alita for like another 20, 15 seconds. And then you're like, what the? Oh, snap. Oh, it's Jim. I'll call you tomorrow, Alita. And then we cut to Mrs. Hurst's class. And it's just music playing. And we see like this whole little montage. Just Odd, Orc, and Jeremy, Sissy, and everybody else just chilling in the classroom just goofing off, answering questions, taking out notes. And if you watch the other episode, you can tell that some of these scenes are from different episodes. They try to make it look like it's all from one just really long class period, Mr. Eric's class, but no, it's from different episodes and from the opening. But I really like this little montage. Just them goofing off in class, answering questions, taking notes. Just them, just them, because they're kids. They're in the seventh grade. They still got school. Like even though they're little Lyoko warriors, they still got school. So they're just chilling at school in a classroom during a really, really long period because this lasted for like 2 minutes, but the clock was just going and going and going. So just one super long period. But I kind of like that. It was really nice. Then obviously the bell rings and they get out of class and it cuts to another class. I don't think we know her name just yet, but I mean they might have said it before. But the only teacher name I know off the bat is Jim. I think the nurse is like Deborah and Mrs. Hertz. Those are the ones I know off the bat. Then in her class, I think her class is like a history. Anyway, she's walking around and Jeremy's just chilling, and she's like, "Jeremy, something wrong?" And he's like, "No, oh, I finished." Picked up the papers. He's like, "Wow, you did finish. Excellent work. Okay then." And whilst he's saying that, Jeremy like starts to remember something. He's like, "Hold up, it's Alita's birthday." And all the org like, "What?" Oh no! At first, I was like, "Thanks, man. You could have gave me some answers." Like you going around like that. He was like, "A year ago today, we met Alita, so it's technically Alita's birthday today." And all the org like, "Wow, I completely forgot. I'm gonna try to make her something." They're like, "Okay." And she's like, "Hey, what's going on? Mind your business." What's going on? Mind your business. Then it cuts again to Odd Orc and Jeremy chilling next to the vending machines. I'm talking about how, we should probably do something for our leaders. She'll probably like that. I don't know what we should do, but we should probably do something. Jeremy's like, yeah, you know what, you're right. I'll head to the factory. I'll meet you guys there. And Jeremy goes off, and all the Orcs like, okay, then yeah, we probably thinking something. On he runs off too, and then it's just Sissy, and Sissy was hiding. She was while they were talking about what they should do for Alita. We see a shadow of Sissy just walking up next to the little hut where the vending machines are. So it seemed like she just that got there after they said the factory stuff. So it was like, she didn't really hear anything that you guys said, but they're trying to make it look like she already was there. But it was whatever. Anyway, after Jeremy and Odd leave to the factory, I thought I was somewhere, my bad. After Jeremy and Odd leave to the factory, Sissy's like, wow, I thought they'd never leave. So, or can we just talk at lunch, just, me and you? Oh, yeah, that's right. I mean, at that point, they said they should plan something for Alita's birthday during their lunch period since they're free. I forgot if they said those specific words. Anyway, she's like, can we just talk, me and you? And then he like, Oh no, my bad. Yumi, Yumi. I need to meet with Yumi. And then in her internal dialogue, she's like, Yumi, that stupid Yumi. Man, I hate Yumi. When is she ever gonna leave? And then we cut to Lyoko and we just see the pulsations going crazy in the desert sector and all the wires of all the red energy sort of pulsating through it. And then Alita, she hears that obviously. She's like, huh? And then we cut to Jeremy. I mean, not Jeremy. We cut to the factory and we see some of the machinery start to move around, and we see the Xena logo pop up. Then we cut back to Jeremy and Odd, and they go through the boiler room. And when they leave the boiler room, they leave the door wide open. I don't know why they did. You should probably close that, but they leave the door wide open anyway. They run to the sewers. Obviously, the whole little animation plays away. They go find the scooter, well, Jeremy's scooter and everybody else's skateboard. You get that classic scene of Odd going, he's just starting to skate. And they walk up the ladder. They go inside, and then when they get inside the elevator at the factory, it's not working. And I made like a little joke about how you should probably make her a virtual cake. And then Jeremy's like, yeah, okay, real funny. I'm like, couldn't you do that? I was thinking like, couldn't Jeremy do that? Because I don't know. Since I'm watching this, I can tell, but I could have sworn there was an episode where they hinted at Jeremy made Kiwi from Lyoko. Like he did the same process with Alita and made Kiwi. Like he was digital and then he made Kiwi. I could have sworn there was the episode where they hinted at that, or they flat out said like, "Come on, Jeremy, can't you do this? You made Kiwi, didn't you?" And then he was like, "Well, it's different." Blah 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 blah. Like I could have sworn there was an episode where they hinted at, or they flat out said that Jeremy made Kiwi by using sort of like the same program stuff to materialize Alita. I could have sworn. Wait, no, because Kiwi's already here and then Alita haven't materialized yet. So never mind. I mean, in that same program, but I remember I could have sworn it was an episode where they somewhat hinted at Jeremy could have possibly made Kiwi. I think if I'm not, I keep remembering that every time I see Kiwi. I'm like, I could have sworn I remember that sentence or whatever. Anyway, I was thinking like he could make a virtual cake though. I mean, and maybe it had a joke. He could probably make a virtual cake. But hands, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, the elevator's broke. It's not working. So Jeremy and Otto are like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna have to go down to the like the basement, sort of like the basement area to go to the factory. I mean, to go up to the lab. I'm like, okay. And then we cut to Yumi and Oric, and they're in the forest, and they're looking around, closely clear, and then they go down the sewer way, the fastest way, I think. I think the boiler room takes a little longer. And Sissy, she's hiding behind a tree, and she sees Oric and Yumi obviously go down the sewer, so she's following them. That was not a because Oric is not a good lookout. He is not a good lookout. Oh my goodness. We cut to Jeremy off like a split second, literally just a split second, with just them walking up some stairs or finna walk up some stairs. And then we cut back to Yumi and Oric, and they're racing to the factory. Yumi wins, and they get inside the elevator. And then Sissy, she gets in there too. And the door starts to close, so she just slips in there. They're like, what are you doing here? Get out! Like, what? Is this your little love nest? That's none of your business. Get out of here. They start to argue, and Oric starts to open the door. Well, he presses the button to open the door so Sissy can leave, and the door's not opening. And Oric's like, what the heck's going on? And then we see the Xena logo pop up. He's like, come on, come on. Then the elevator starts to go down, like really fast. Like really fast. Like, and then it starts to go, it just zooms down. And then the cables break. And then boom, it hits the ground. And then it cuts the org. I mean, I'm cut through here because I'm talking faster than, I'm talking faster than what's happening on the screen. Just want to make sure I don't go ahead of myself and mess up something. Anyway, the elevator it falls and you hear like boom, and then we cut to Jimmy. Oh, they're like, what the heck was that noise? I don't know. Let's go check it out. So they run down those stairs they just climbed up, and while they're walking, you hear the Xenon logo go, and then the conveyor belt starts to move around. Then all the little like robot claws and stuff start to move around, and then I didn't know that was a drill. There's like one robot claw that's like has a nail in it, a screw, a long piece of metal that's just like zigzagging. I'm like, what is that supposed to do? But later on in the episode, it tries to hit Jeremy, and then when it hits the conveyor belt, so it hit Jeremy, you hear like the drill sound. So I'm like, that's a funny looking drill. That is a really funny looking drill. If that's a drill, like what in the world? And then we cut to Alita on Lyoko. She's standing on top of this large platform, and she's calling out for Jeremy, and obviously he's not answering. He's not a computer. She's like, Okay then, well I see it's Xana, and then, then it just cuts again. Like there's so many cuts in this episode. And we cut back to Yumi, Orc, and Sissy. Gotta make sure I get the name right. We cut back to all of them, and Yumi wakes up, and she's like, "Okay, I'm fine." And she crawls over the Orc and see, yeah, she crawls over the Orc and see if he's okay. He's fine, but he did break his arm. I think it's his right arm. He broke his arm, and then Orc goes, "You need to go find Yumi." And he's like, sorry, let me start over. She crawls over the Orc, and Orc's like, I broke my arm. Oh my goodness, are you good? And Yumi's like, yeah, I got lucky. I'm perfectly fine. And she's like, what about? And he's like, what about Sissy? She looks fine, but she's out cold. Like she completely passed out. Like my goodness. And Yumi calls Jeremy, and obviously Jeremy and Odd are like trying to run away from all the metal claws and stuff, trying to pierce them. And we hear one like slam, and then Yumi's on the phone like, oh, what in the world? Like that hurt her. I was like, like maybe it was a super loud noise or something, but I don't know. Anyway, Org tells Yumi like, you gotta climb up the shaft because I can't do it with one arm. Like that's impossible. Sissy's out cold, and someone needs to watch Sissy. So you're up, Yumi. Like you just gotta go. And then we cut right back to On and Jeremy and that fight. Well, On, he's fighting the middle claws. He's like, literally, it cuts that fast. Like, literally, we see Jeremy fall to the ground and the middle claw goes to grab him. And then Odd picks up a random piece of metal and starts to hit it. And he hits it twice and then it just cuts. Then it just cuts like that right back to Alita. I'm like, there's so many cuts in this episode, but whatever. We cut to Alita and she's still on that giant platform. And she's like, okay, well, Jeremy's not answering. I guess I gotta do this. And she's like, pulsation. And she jumps. Oh, she takes like a few seconds, like to breathe. And then she just jumps off. I'm like, what in the world? And then she just lands and hit the ground. She's like, okay. And then she starts to run. Sorry. Like, if you saw how hard, let me show you just how hard she hits the ground. Like, my goodness. This was a virtual. Her legs are broke. Like, she takes a few seconds, and then she jumps or falls, and then boom. Like, jeez. Boom. Okay, and then she starts to run, and then it cuts again to Yumi, Orc, and Sissy. And Yumi's like, okay. So she climbs out of the elevator, and she looks up, and she gets kind of nervous, obviously, because it's pretty high up. And I didn't know that because Yumi, because at first she's like, oh no. And you're always like, what's the problem? And she's like, I just remember I got a slight fear of heights. I'm like, oh, I didn't really, we didn't really know that before. Like, Yumi has gone up pretty high. Just a few episodes ago, they were on top of that building. And remember when all the rats came? And then they had to, like, send me down that giant building. I mean, it wasn't like the tallest building in the world, but you're on top of a building that's pretty high. Anyway, they're on top of that building, and they had to send me down there with the hose. And Yumi didn't hesitate at all. She was like, yep, okay, let's do this. Well, that was pretty high. You didn't say nothing before. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It was just like I just remember that while I'm talking on the episode, on the review. I was like, you just see me down it. Like, what in the, what in the world? It's whatever. Anyway, Yumi leaves, and then Sissy wakes up, and obviously she's talking about what's going on. Oh, the elevator fell down. It's kind of cold in here. It's okay. They'll fix it. And then obviously Orac's like, my arm. And she's like, hey, let me take a look at that. And then we cut to Yumi because we just leave them, and she's climbing up the elevator shaft. And then she's like trying to go really fast because she wants this to be over with, but she's going too fast. And she sort of slips. She's like, and she grabs it. And she's like, okay, got a long way to go. And then she keeps climbing, and then we cut it right back to Odd and Jeremy, and they're trying to dodge and run away from the metal claws. And then one metal claw grabs, it grabs the metal, like the piece of metal that Odd had that they kept hitting it with. It grabs it and twists it around, and then Odd looks really scared, like But I'm like, you can still hit them with that. It wasn't like he snapped it in half. You can still hit him with that. But Odd, he's like, oh shoot, yo, this is bad. You can still kind of hit him with that. Like, come on now, it's like there ain't no problem. It's like it's like it's not like this, but it's like they twist it and they twist this. I still got a lot of good metal to hit you with. My hands, whatever. Anyway, Jeremy's like, we got to get out of here. And he's like, no, dog, genius. Like, of course, we got to get out of here. One of the middle claws trips up Jeremy. And he falls in the conveyor belt. Then another claw grabs Odd and he slams him on the conveyor belt. And that dog in like the middle claw trying to grab them. Jeremy he dodging them too. I'm like, I can just get off of this. And now I got stuck. Anyway, Odd he gets close to like this black hole. I'm pretty sure that's where they incinerate stuff. And he jumps and he grabs a metal beam. And he's like, Jeremy, come on, up here, come on. Instead of jumping up and grabbing the beam, Jeremy jumps up and grabs Odd by the waist. Obviously, Odd can't hold all that weight, so they both fall over. And then Jeremy like, yo, we gotta go to the boiler room. I'm like, why are you like before he said, I'm like, why are you grabbing Odd? Like, I know he's not the most. I know he's not the most. Not I keep wanting to say toughest, strongest. I kept thinking of toughest, the most strongest person in the world to hold up his own weight. But why would you grab Odd? You know he can't hold both of y'all. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, Jeremy and Odd get away. Yeah, I said it right now. Jeremy and Odd get away. And Odd is like, man, I wish we were on Lyoko. I got powers here. And Jeremy like, yeah, we gotta get to the lab. I guess we gotta cut through the boiler room and we can't cut through here. Let's go. And we cut to Yumi and she's still walking up and Odd just tells her what's going on. Me and Jeremy gonna cut through the boiler room, get to the lab. And she's like, okay, I'm climbing up the shaft right now. I'll meet you guys there. And we cut to our leader. And this scene is hilarious. So she's running to the tower. And then there's a crab behind a ton of rocks. There's a crab behind a ton of rocks. And the crab looks up for a second, and then we hear the Xana music play. And then when the cuts to our leader, like, what was that noise? It instantly just stops. It's like, dun, dun, dun. Just stops like that. That was so funny. And when she turns to look, it goes right back down behind the rocks. She's like, huh? Okay. So he starts to run again. Then the crab gets up and the music starts to play. And then it comes up right behind Alita. I don't know how you didn't hear that giant mechanical crab, but it comes up right behind Alita. It's not doing this, but it comes up right behind Alita. Alita's like, And she looks down and she sees the giant crab shadow. She's like, what the? Oh, shoot. And she starts she starts running. It was funny because the crab like comes up behind her like, what you think you're doing? Leaving behind the rock. She was like, yeah, buddy. This is like, I can't get out. Anyway, when Alita sees the crab shadow, looks at the crab, she starts to run and then starts to shoot at her. And then we cut to Jeremy and Odd and they're in the boiler room. And like the boiler is starting to steam. Like there's a ton of steam coming off of it. And Jeremy and Odd like, I don't trust that. And Jeremy's like, Odd is like, well, we're gonna have to run past it because I don't really trust it. It might blow up. At first, I was like, if that blows up, that's the whole factory, right? But nah, I guess not. I don't know. Anyway, they're like, I don't really trust that thing. It might blow up when we walk past it, so we're gonna have to run. And then Jeremy goes, well, I'm better at math than running. Well, math is gonna help you today. How does like math is gonna help you today? So he's like, okay, 3, 2, go! And they both run past the boiler as fast as they can. And obviously, Jeremy's lagging behind a little bit. And then the boiler actually explodes. I was thinking, like, that junk explodes. That's like the whole factory. But no, it explodes and they're right behind them. See, they're like, I'm like, unless they are like booking it, that's what it killed them. Like, look at it, it explodes and they're like, like man, oh man, like what in the world? Anyway, it explodes and the whole factory starts to rumble. And Yumi finally gets up to the top, and she gets on the elevator. Well, the door to the elevator is like this slightly tiny little beam that she can walk on. And she types in some sort of password, and the door opens, and then she's like, okay, like because like she's like this at first, and it kind of looks like she's holding on to the back of something, like right here. Like at first, when the doors are open after she types in the password, it looks like her hands on the back of the wall. But no, the camera zooms out and it's nothing behind her. Like if she falls back, she's done. So she's like just trying to keep balance before she can just walk in there. I was like, yo, because like I think we've seen this in the trailer, and not the trailer, the opening when she's like this, and it looks like her hands are holding onto the back of the wall. But no, just like nothing behind her. She falls, she's done. Anyway, we cut back to Sissy and Oric, and Sissy makes I don't know where she got the cloth from. I think it's his jacket. Yeah, it's indication that it's his jacket, but the cloth is white. It's not green. But anyway, she makes like a homemade little well, I don't know the thing called, but the thing that holds your arm when it's broke. She makes it tight, and she's like, okay, that's to be good. And Oric's like, wow, you're a pretty good nurse. Thank you. And then she's like, oh, and I just some stick in the mud or whatever. And he's like, nah. And once he like fixes, like makes the I forget what it's called. But once he makes it, she's like, okay, there you go. So he packs his broken arm. I'm like, what are you doing? And he also does this. And then like Orc doesn't do that. He just smiles. I'm like, what are you doing, sissy? Like, what are you doing? And then it just cuts to some hole in the wall from where the elevator like fell down, and it cracks the wall, and there's some water coming out. So they gotta hurry this up. Anyway, we cut back to a leader on Lyoko, and then we see this some sort of like maze or up higher maze thingy. It's kind of weird. Some higher maze thingy, some sort of maze in the sky. Well, not the sky. Anyway, it's like an uprooted maze. Anyway, our leader's running away from the crab on this uprooted maze I just told y'all, and she's starting to jump from platform to platform. Obviously, the crab is chasing after her, so it gets on the platforms, but it has like 4 or 5 legs, and it's really big, so it has to like be careful. All these legs got to grab something, and then Alita jumps onto a platform and sees the crab struggling. She's like, okay. She gets on her knees, focuses, she starts to sing, and she makes some of the platforms, well, a ton of them actually start to shrink down. And then there's no more platforms for the crab's legs to be on. So it's on 2 legs. It's on 2 legs now. It's wobbling like crazy. And then she turns around to the crab and she starts to laugh. She's like, bye bye. And jumps off of it and starts to run. And you see this giant explosion again. I'm like, what is what is up with this episode for people running away from explosions? Look at this. The crab falls because there's no more platforms and just in the background. Like, okay. Anyway, Yumi, she gets. Okay, there we go. Yumi, she gets into the lab and there's a ton of smoke because the boiler just blew up. She's yelling like, "Odd, Jeremy, where are you guys? Are you guys okay, Jeremy? Odd, where are you?" And then like the wind is starting to blow Yumi's hair this way. I'm like, this is a pretty nice shot of Yumi. Like, look at this. The wind starts to blow Yumi's hair that way. And it's like, oh, and then so it to her. Oh, you see that? And then we see Yumi, and she starts to yell for like, you guys okay? And her hair starts to like flow in the wind. I'm okay. My bad. I'm okay. It's a pretty nice look for Yumi. Anyway, all the Jeremy starts to cough. Like, okay, we're good. We're good. Hey, Yumi, what's up? And not Odd, Yumi and Jeremy, they start to hold like, oh, I'm so glad you're okay. And Odd is just standing there like, he just stayed in there for that. I'm like, oh, that's how you know they're friend, their best friend. Like, you're good. Oh, I'm so good to see you. Just fucking, and they're like, okay, we gotta fix this. Let's do this. Go to the scanners, guys. Let's do this. And he's looking for the tower. I think what was it? I think there was one scene where like I think Yumi's like yeah, Oric and Cece are stuck down there. This is bad. The boiler blew up. There's machinery everywhere, and they can't even connect to our leader. Like this whole situation is so bad. My goodness. And we cut to our leader, and she's looking at the tower, and there's 2 crabs. And it was funny because there's one crab standing there already, and another crab just walks up like, it just walks up like, "What's up?" Like, "What's up?" Look. There's gonna be another crab that pops up. So that one crab was just standing there, the other crab like, "What's up? Where they at? Where they at?" Like he just walks up so hard, like, "Where they at? Let's do this." Oh man, let's do this. Anyway, obviously from that crack, the water starts to come up, and Cece starts to get scared a little bit. Oh no, my bad. At first, Oric says, "If we make it out of here alive, I swear I'll be nicer to you." He's like, "You mean it?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then the water starts to appear on the ground. They're like, "Oh no, this is bad." And Cece comes over to Oric and he starts to hug her. And then Oric calls Jeremy. I'm like, "Yo, we're kind of bad here," while he's virtualizing Yumi and Odd. And it was funny because Oric called and you see it popped up. And he's like, "Yo, Jeremy, this is bad." And then he's like, "Oh, hold up, Oric, I gotta virtualize Yumi and Odd. The water's coming up, blah, 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 blah." Oh, snap. But you gotta hold on a second. I'm virtualizing Yumi and Odd real quick. Yo, you gotta hold on a second. And then, I don't know why, but he literally virtualized them right in front of the crabs. Like, literally. Like, look at this. Like, right in front of them. Not even joking. They virtualized, they land instantly right in front of them. Huh? And then they start to shoot. And they shoot it. Obviously, Yumi brings out the fan. Yeah, blocks one shot, and Audie does like two flips and blocks it. And then obviously Audie's like, okay, Oric and Sissy, they're finna drown. Well, he doesn't say that, but he's like, we gotta hurry this up. We're gonna just try to bulldoze through there. I'm gonna be the front man. You protect that leader, Yumi. Let's do this. Anyway, they run up to the crabs, and on he takes a hit after shooting some lasers. He takes out one crab too. And a third one comes. I forget about that. A third crab comes up out of nowhere, and on he's running in there shooting. And I think he takes out one crab. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He gets hit, and then there's something really they didn't specifically like. Sometimes when the enemy are stronger, Jeremy specifically said like, yo, these cubes lasers are like 50% stronger. Or listen, that these walls have poison and that's gonna eat away y'all health. So y'all need to be careful. Anyway, on he's shooting at the crab and one of them hits on. He's like, yo, you're losing way too many life points. You just lost like 40, or you only got 40 left. I'm like, that was just one shot. These crabs are kind of powerful. Then it's like a weird scene to where it's odd running, then it will cut to a crab shooting, and then it will cut to the ground, and you'll see some lasers hit the ground to where they miss. It will just cut back to odd running, then it will cut to the crab shooting, and it will cut to it missing on the ground again. And that's a really weird shot, but okay. Anyways, Yumi and Odd dodging and blocking these lasers, and Odd takes out the third crab that just walked up out of nowhere. Yumi gets hit, and then Jeremy passes out Odd for losing life points. That was really weird. Like Yumi, she gets hit, and he's like, "Odd, you're losing too many life points. What are you doing?" Like they did not sync up that English dub too well. And Odd gets hits again, and he gets virtualized. I'm like, yo, that was fast. That was only two shots, literally only two shots. That is wild. And then Alita, she gets hit, and then out of nowhere, these crabs have the strongest lasers in the world. I'm finna show y'all. So the crab shoots Alita and falls. Jeremy spazzes, obviously. Then the crab shoots another laser. And when it shoots it, it's like so hard and fast. It's like a big bright light of white really quickly. And then Yumi obviously brings out her fan. She jumps up and blocks the laser. And then it's that big flash of white, and the whole screen saying like, boom! Like that was like the toughest, fastest laser in the world. And Yumi just knocked back a few feet. I'm not a few feet, but back a few inches. I'm like, what kind of lasers are these crabs packing in this episode? Yo, I just remembered when all the machinery started to move around and when attacking Jeremy and Odd. Odd was like, "It's a trap." I was gonna say he said it. He said the thing. I was thinking about that all night, but I completely forget. I don't know if that's gonna happen again. Like if the like what the episode title is and them saying it. I don't know if that's gonna link up, but okay. I completely forgot about that. But look, it's gonna shoot a laser at a leader, and look at this big flash of white. Oh, okay, no, it got shoot another one. I forget. Boom! Look at that. Like it, like normally it's just like boom. I mean, normally it's just block, but this was like, like you saw that big flash of white. It wasn't like the biggest thing, and maybe I'm overhyping it a little bit, but it was confusing. Anyway, Jeremy's like, yo, Alita, you get 80 life points. You mean you only get 10? You need to be careful. What are y'all doing? Yumi takes out another crab, so now there's only one crab left. But she also gets shot, and then she gets virtualized. So now she's like Lita by herself and the crab. And for a second, I was like, I forgot the outcome of this episode. What is going to happen? But it's pretty simple. The crab shoots at Alita. She does a barrel roll to dodge. She runs under the crab, and then she just goes into the tower. It was that simple. She just goes into the tower. It was literally that simple. And we cut to Jeremy calling Ori. He like, yo, Ori, she's in the tower. You guys okay? Oric and his phone is completely submerged, and not Yumi, Sissy and Oric are like just barely hanging on, just trying to travel water. Ooh, and they both fall. Well, we only see Sissy fall under actually. That's kind of weird. We don't see Oric. Anyway, Sissy goes underwater for Return of the Past now, and we cut back to the day before Alita's birthday, and then we see Oric Odd, Yumi, and Oric Odd, Yumi, Jeremy. Sorry, saying all these names so fast kind of gets me messed up sometimes. they're in front of Jeremy's computer. I don't know why Jeremy has the door wide open in his room, but the door is wide open. So Sissy, Herb, and Nicholas are all looking in, and they have a cake in front of the monitor. They're like, "Are you ready, Alita? Happy birthday! Look at the cake." And she's like, "Oh my goodness, thank you." And I'm gonna show you the scene where they're like saying happy birthday. And then the Sissy, while she's looking in, your Orc, he turns around and Sissy starts to move, and she peeks back in, and Orc looks at her, and he's like, when he's like, you okay, it's fine. And she's like, huh. And then Nicholas and Herb have to make fun of them, like, well, really? They're celebrating the computer's birthday? They're so weird. And Sissy's like, well, that's not too weird. You know what? Buy me a cake. We're gonna celebrate my makeup kit. They both look at each other like, what? What? The way it is when they say happy birthday to Alita. Really nice. Let me block that out for you. There we go. Like, oh, happy birthday. And that's when he turned around and winks at Sissy. And then before the episode ends and so the credit, we hear Yumi spaz at oh, she's like, oh, you're eating all the cake. I'm hungry. Like, what's the problem? So you gotta save some for the rest of us. Like, oh, you eating all the cake. My goodness. I completely forgot to do the little trap thing. Man, that sucked. Anyway, that was the episode 14, almost to episode 15. Also means almost to episode 20, milestone right there. So I thank you all for watching. I thank you all to be wonderful and beautiful and handsome human beings. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. And I'm so sorry I didn't get a Lyoko video out last week. And this episode is 30 minutes long. It's gonna take forever to upload. It's gonna take forever to upload. My goodness. But hey, quality content.